Xavier had to break all that stuff down to him, didn't he? They didn't even want to accept that they were no mutants. They didn't even know how to handle or deal with being a mutant. They thought being a mutant was a problem. Well, hell, I don't know why I can't keep a job. I don't know why I don't want to work for this European. I don't know why I don't want to go along with his nonsense. I don't know why I can't accept his madness. Everything else do. I don't know why I can't believe everything I see on the television. I don't know why I want to question everything. You feel the point I'm making? Because you're a mutant. You feel the point I'm making? You're mutated. You're not the same as everybody else. And you have a unique and particular position. Something unique that you're supposed to do. Which is why you have this extra special position. It is a gift for you to transform society. Because everybody is the same. And everybody think the same way. You get the same result. You need mutants to cause the entire system to mutate. For something better for everybody. You see the point I'm making? In Hitler, in Germany, you would hope a mutant raised up to say, wait a minute, man, the way we doing these Jews. Because all of them was thinking alike. They was marching in order. You feel what I'm making? Against them Jews. The best thing that could have happened to them was a mutant to say, wait a minute now. This is not right. What are we doing? You feel what I'm making? You needed somebody to stand up and say the emperor has no clothes on. So the best thing that can happen to society is these mutants. Because what they're doing is going unquestioned. They just going along with it like it's an everyday thing. Like this is just absolutely right and there are no flaws in it. But then all of a sudden this mutant rises up and questions everything. Every aspect of it. This is not right. How could you do this? How could this go with this? Boy, stop questioning so much. Why have you been driven to question the nature and fabric of this institutionalized society? What is it about you? Is it your education? Is it a mental problem? What is it? There's something different about you. So when those people realize that, then they can gather together as strong individuals. They can gather together with a strong group to make changes and make things happen. Because those people, they have their institutions to protect their ways of thought and to protect their ways of life. They have their establishments. You know what I'm saying? They're set up. When are we going to set up an establishment to ensure the mutants' power? You feel the one I'm making? When are we going to do it? And that's what we're simply doing here. So realize that we're not here by no accident. We're not here because, we happen to end up and hear this message and it sounds truthful. It only sounds truthful because your mind has the capacity to conceive it. Some people I can talk this stuff to and they couldn't hear for 3 minutes. Literally. You try to explain certain things to them and they're like, what? They can't even get it. They don't have the mental capacity to even fathom the thought. Literally. You come talk to certain people, they be like, do you smoke weed? Trying to tell you something. They're not asking you, do you smoke weed? Because they're just trying to sell it. They ask you to smoke weed so they can somehow medicate your mind. See, that's society's natural medicine men, trying to medicate. You walk with somebody and you're like, man, do you smoke weed? They're not asking you to smoke weed just because it just crossed their mind. They're saying, this is how we deal with mutants. Smoke this weed. Null your mind. Dull your senses. Right? Because if you dull your senses, now you're walking around like a drone. Talking about you high, but you're not high or low. You're neither. You feel what I'm making? Your senses are numbed and dulled out. That's why they asking you, do you smoke weed? Do you drink? Because they want your mind not to function capacity at its highest capacity because you will point out all the holes.
No problem.
So they need your mind null. They need to desensitize you. Literally. Smoke this blunt. You'll be straight. But will society be straight after I smoke this blunt? And after I'm no longer high, what's going to happen after I'm not high no more? I'm going to be in the same society that I was in. I'm going to be in the same shoes that I was in after I get high. So what is getting high doing? Literally nothing. We smoke the weed, get high, then we no longer high again, and we're back where we were before we smoked the weed. That's a way of desensitizing the mind. Society doesn't want to deal with mind. It don't want to think. That's why you got alcohol and useless hours of TV and marijuana. Why? So that you don't have to think anymore. Literally. Some people are even trying to meditate out of the fact that they believe that they need to still the mind. You see the point of that? Not realizing that the mind has a place. Be careful what you neutralize before you neutralize it. See what purpose it has. Osho said something deep. I don't know if y'all heard of Osho. But he says that the yogis used to stand on their head to quiet the mind. But eventually the blood rushed through their head. And they didn't necessarily quiet the mind. They literally destroyed their brains by standing on their heads.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Because the blood kept flowing into their head. And too much blood started destroying the brain. So when you saw them in that real trance-like state, it wasn't because they had achieved enlightenment. It's because they destroyed their damn brains. So you have to be careful what you are doing before you try to fix something. You got to really make sure it's broken. You feel the point I'm making? A lot of times we're trying to fix things that aren't necessarily broken. They only look broken in a broken society. They look broken in a broken community. But in their proper place, they are very fixed states. So be careful before we start meditating to slow down a mind that can change the world. Do you feel the point I'm making? Be careful. Make sure that you're not neutralizing or nullifying a mind that could change the world. Thinkers change the world. Thinkers create changes. Thought forces people to change more than anything. You can physically move somebody, and they can still be thinking the same way wherever you move them to. So you can't change people by physically moving them. But you can change people by changing their thoughts. So thinkers change the world. Do you see the point I'm making? Thinkers cause change. So it's going to take thinkers, people that are willing to think, and think outside of the boxes to help other people transcend those boxes and to get rid of those boxes altogether. It's the thinkers that are going to do that. Not the meditators. They can just be with it. You feel me? The meditators can sit in the face of anything and just go along with it because they are meditators. You see the one I'm making? The weed smokers can be peaceful with anything. If you smoke enough weed, it's like whatever. You feel me? But it is the thinkers that is going to force society to change. Got people saying, well, you know, you think too much. Are you serious? You think too much? Have you ever heard anybody ever said that to you? Yeah. Stop thinking so damn much. Well, how did all the inventions and all the shit they got going on out here come into manifestation? To stop thinking is to no longer be a contribution to the advancement of humanity. People want to meditate. Meditate after you die. While you're on earth, think to create changes. Think to come up with new manifestations to be a contribution on earth. Even to be of charity, to be a humanitarian service. You got to think of new ways to reach people. You got to think of new ways to help people. The mind is a tool that can be used once you understand what your purpose is. And that is our purpose, to bring about change. So before we meditate and chain smoke blunts, let's really look at who we are and what we are here for and respect that. Do you see what I'm making? The only thing that separates me from people who I was building with years back is that they stopped thinking. I didn't. You feel what I'm making? I kept on thinking and kept on challenging and kept on being willing to challenge. The minute you stop thinking, you become religious. Do you see the point I'm making? The minute you stop thinking, you now have become religious. You now become dogmatic. Because what is dogmatism? The absence of thought. The repetition of something without thought. You know what I'm saying? You start just repeating things. Rhetoric. Because you no longer think. So I'll tell everybody that watch this information. Constantly challenge me. You know what I'm saying? On whatever thoughts that I have. That's the difference between what I'm doing and a cult. You can't challenge a cult leader. You got to repeat whatever they put in front of you, right? And say that. And that's the doctrine. I constantly ask people to challenge me. Because challenging develops the mind. You understand what I'm making? And when you develop your mind, you can do more things with it. The quest for truth is nothing but the quest to develop your mind. The quest for truth is the martial arts of the mind. Y'all don't hear me. I'm going too deep now. The quest for truth is not to possess truth, but it is the martial arts of the mind. And once you perfect the mind through the mental martial arts, out of your quest for truth, then now you have a more developed mind. You see people when they get 40, 50 years old, they can't even express themselves. Their mind is dead. Children sound more intelligent than adults. Have y'all noticed that? Children be proper and, you know what I'm saying, pronouncing every word. People get 40, 50 years old because they ain't been challenged. They can only say them 10 sentences, really, correctly. They can only act within the framework of that job. Really. They can't, their minds is gone. You see what I'm making? They didn't use it. It atrophied. So when you go to them, like I said, they don't even have the mind anymore to even think about what you're talking about. It ain't even there anymore. You say old people are stuck in old ways. They're not stuck. Their mind just ain't damn working. If they could, they would be thinking of some other shit too. But their mind ain't even operating on that level. You go to people and they're part of these organizations, they keep saying the same stuff over and over. It don't even make sense. You stop and ask them, do you know what you're saying? I mean, they get into these religious cliches. You feel what I'm making? And start applying them to stuff where it don't even make sense. Their mind has stopped working. It ain't that they have, you know, it's not funny. It's not that they have allegiance to these organizations and groups. Their damn mind has stopped working in the group. So they can only say the same stuff over again. The pastor, you say the pastor say the same sermon every week. He ain't been trying, he can't say nothing else. His mind has been overbuilt with those particular neurons. Jesus. Them the only neurons that fire within his mind. The rest of his brain is atrophy.
It's not trophy.
Atrophy.
I guess that means like.
It means degenerated. It don't even work in that capacity.
You ever heard that word? Right?
Yes.
I've never heard that word. Like most of that.
Yeah, just like can like stop working or some muscles stop working, you stop using them like as you get older.
A trophy.
Their mind is not even working anymore. So we got to understand that nature of truth. This quest for truth is the martial art of the mind. It is to keep your mind sharp. You got to keep your body sharp. You got to keep your mind sharp. People that don't want you to ask questions don't want to think. They don't want to develop their mind. Because eventually, if you keep challenging them, one thing going to have to happen. They're going to either have to reject you or develop their mind. They're going to have to develop their positions. You could turn a religious person spiritual by asking them questions. Because they have to become spiritual to deal with you. You feel what I'm making? Literally. You can make a religious person become spiritual. Because now they got to think all outside of the box. Well, I never thought about that. If God created the universe, where was he standing at? Damn. I never thought about that. How do I answer that? You're challenging them to grow and to become spiritual. You see what I'm saying? Because spirituality is a state of being. It's not a doctrine. You're challenging them to go beyond the matrix of where they're already at by asking them certain questions. So our organization of our thoughts and ideas are to be challenged. I ask people, challenge this information. This ain't about me being right. You can ask Brother Shabazz. We debate all the time. Literally. Challenge yourself. Embrace the challenge. Do you see what I mean? To think. Because the minute you stop thinking, you are dead. You no longer exist. When the thinkers stop thinking, there's nobody there anymore. You're not the thoughts, you're the thinkers. So if you land on any thoughts, you're dead now. So if you lose your mental vitality, what is physical vitality without mental vitality? What is it? It's zero. So we have to build mental strength. And by building mental strength, we can deal with any mental opposition. Do you follow what I'm making? Because with any realm of life, whether you're talking about sovereignty or dealing with Europeans, it's going to be mental opposition. It ain't going to be based on truth. It's going to be on how well you're able to deal with the opposition. Am I correct? So if we dogmatic here and we can't deal with mental opposition among ourselves,